It's Wednesday, November 30th. No, it's Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. I'm with Mr. John Jeckovich and reading his book, Their Mother's Sons. The book is approximately 900 pages, and it starts when Mr. Jeckovich is approximately 11 years old and goes to his full-blown retirement. Mr. Jeckovich was a World War II veteran in the Battle of Bulge and plus many other battles. He's a Purple Heart recipient with 2 Bronze Stars. He was shot by snipers in the shoulder, bombed with shrapnel, and still in his leg, and he's been beat up, stabbed, shot, trench foot, frostbite
on the foot.
Frostbite. How's your frostbite today?
It's bad. Every time the temperature goes down,
Every time it goes down a little bit, it's bad. So he really took a beating during World War II. However, he's knocking on the door of 100. And he's in pretty damn good shape. He can read the newspaper without any glasses. He never took a prescription in his life, nor baby aspirin, or vitamins. He never took anything like that. He never smoked, he never drank.
He's a super soldier.
We nicknamed him the Super Soldier.
Super soldier.
Super soldier.
Close that door. It's cold as hell in here,
The only hiccup... The only hiccup we have is that Mr. Jeckovich jogged for 80 long years and his knees gave out.
Part of his feet, though.
And that part of his frostbite too, but he did jog for 80 years.
Right.
And your knees gave out from frostbite, trench foot, and jogging for 80 years.
Yeah.
But everything else is working fine.
Jumped out of the plane and injured his
and jumped out of a plane parachuting and hit hard during World War II. But besides that, I mean, this guy takes a licking and keeps on ticking. He has been through it all. He's in nice shape for 100 years old.
Almost.
Knock on the door of 100. By the way, if you're 40 years old, you have about a 10% chance of making it to 100 years old. It's a hard thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. Isn't it, Mr. Jeckovich? How does it feel being 100? How do you feel?
No better than I felt when I was 20.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You feel that good.
Yeah.
I see you got...
I got no aches or pains.
Yeah, but I see you got a new sweatshirt and new t-shirt and new pants and shoes. You're looking really good today.
These pants, these shoes have been here for a year.
No, you have 20 sets of the same shoe. You're looking really good today. And I heard you had a real special visitor today. Your great-granddaughter, Amber Jeckovich, came in.
Yeah.
What a nice girl she is.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart, yeah.
She's a sweetheart. Amber Nicole Jeckovich comes by from...
Yeah, but she saw that stupid picture up there in Clinton. She started to cry.
She comes by from time to time on the way to church for 2 or 3 or 4 hours and visits her great-grandfather, wow, great-grandfather. She's a super girl. She's an avid surfer. She's been surfing since she was 9 years old. She surfed around the world. There's not a surf continent that Amber hasn't surfed on. She raised a lot of money for youngsters going through cancer, and she's a full-time missionary.
Yeah.
A full-time missionary. She just got back from surfing in California for 3 months, and then she helped a lot of youngsters that didn't have parents in Mexico for 3 weeks. And now the weather's getting a little bit chilly in Florida, and the waves aren't going to be that great for the next couple months. And even though Amber lives right on the ocean, she can roll out of bed and go surfing, but she's always chasing a wave. So for the next month, she'll be surfing in Hawaii, and then from Hawaii, she'll be surfing for at least 2 months in Australia. Now in Australia, when we start our winters in December, Australia is starting their summer. So she's pretty smart how she's chasing her waves, and she truly loves it. Mm-hmm. She usually leaves early before we set up the studio, but one time I'm going to try to get her to stay late. So you have to see this super duper young lady. She's a real gem. She's a real gem. Yes, she sure is. She's a Christ-like person with a lot of great features. So that was a nice visit today, right, Mr. Jeckovich? Right, Mr. Jeckovich?
Yeah.
It has cheered you up so much. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Yeah, he sure does. Mr. Jeckovich's division affectionately was called, in the beginning, the Diaper Division. Why was that?
They were all young kids, 19 years old, 33s. They were 33s.
The code is 33, military code. That means teenagers. And teenagers were the best fighters because once you get past, say, 19 or 20, hard to believe, but at 25 and further, you don't have the drive or the strength as a teenager. They're the best fighters. And we went through a lot of them, and unfortunately, many of those young boys were killed. We had approximately 16 million young men and women who served in World War II. We have less than 100,000 left. Most of those are rear echelon. What did the rear echelon do, Mr.
People who supported the people of the front line. Send equipment out, make out service slaves and all that nonsense.
Yeah, well, that was an important job. However, the people like Mr. Jeckovich, who were the infantry on the front lines, we have less than 6,000 of those left. And those guys are mostly late 90s, early 100s. Late 90s, early 100s. And we lost a lot during the war, but we have less than 6,000 left, so we're losing them at a rate, the infantry guys, front line, the real fighters that liberated Paris and then cut the gates and chains and the blocks and knocked down the fences at the POW camps and the Holocaust camps. These guys did it all. In fact, it was nice that during our 290 pods that we read over the last year or so, we have a lot of nice comments, but one comes up to me very, very clearly. A young boy, I'd say he was about, maybe 25, 30 years old. He's in Paris, France, and he gave a nice, beautiful comments to Mr. Jeckovich. He lives in Paris, and he was standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. And he sent us a beautiful, beautiful video thanking Mr. Jeckovich for liberating Paris. Because if the United States Army wasn't in Paris, it never would have happened.
No.
Adolf Hitler would have took over. And then he thanked Mr. Jeckovich for at least 15 minutes. A beautiful, very, very eloquent speech he gave Mr. Jeckovich and all the other U.S. Army fellows that liberated Paris, and then later to finally clean it up in the Battle of the Bulge. But it's so interesting and heartfelt to hear someone saying that, because in the United States, most of the people forgot about it.
Yeah.
But in Paris, they didn't forget. In France, they didn't forget. In Europe, they didn't forget. They thanked the American soldiers 3 generations later. So it was a beautiful thing. And I think if you would Google John J. Jeckovich from Paris comments, you'll see the speech this fellow gave. It was a very, very inspiring speech. It was very nice. So that was refreshing.
Now, you said you were going to watch that last night. You said you were going to pick this up today here.
We will.
Yeah.
We only have about 20 more minutes on the studio.
Yeah.
We'll pick it up. And last night we were going, Mr. Jeckovich is referred to, last night we were going to Mr. Jeckovich's films he acquired of Adolf Hitler coming to power, and then his demise, where he committed suicide. And Adolf Hitler was your typical narcissistic asswipe. Even during his last day, instead of being remorseful for what he did, he was very proud of what he did. His words were, "I leave this earth with a big smile. I'm very happy that me, Adolf Hitler, changed the world, and we got rid of these bastard Jews." And that was his final words. So he never did get it that he was the devil. But think about it today. There's so many people today There are sociopaths with no empathy. Think about it today, and you'll find out that some of the most poisonous people on earth come disguised as your relatives. If you don't know now, get an elderly person and you'll find out some of the most poisonous people on earth come disguised as your relatives. Yeah, sad, but you'll find out once you get an elderly person in your family to see what your siblings do. They won't do jack shit. So, you want to read a little bit or you want me to?
No, go ahead, read it, go ahead.
Before I open up the laptop, I need the passcode. The passcode.
42065.
You jumped it. The passcode is Mr. Jekovich's dog tag number. Say that again. You want to?
42065.
Okay. I'm opening it up right now. And this book we're reading is called Their Mother's Sons. And it started out when Mr. Jeckovich was about 11 years old. And Mr. Jeckovich was the full and main caretaker of his mother because his father, Mr. Jekovich's father, died at 43. He came over from the old country, worked himself to death, would never take a handout from anybody. When he was doing the cement, he died of a heart attack. And so Mr. Jeckovich had to take care of his mother from that age, 13, 12, 11, to her death, and she died maybe at 89, 90 years old. So it was a task, and all this is written in the book. Many calls and text messages come in. Where can I buy the book, Mr. Jeckovich?
You can't.
You can't. It has nothing to do about money. Mr. Jeckovich is not interested in money. But every night I read a chapter or so we can listen to it. And also, at the World War II Museum, there's a full copy of it, a fresh copy of it, in the World War II Museum in New Orleans. And also, most recently, we did a history going to the World War II Museum of AI, Mr. Jekovich's full figure sitting down in a chair, and 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, someone would ask Mr. Jeckovich a question and the AI will answer it in his words. A very interesting thing. It took us a lot of time to do that, but it came out just right. But now, it's simple. Mr. Jeckovich is here. Mr. Jeckovich is alive. Mr. Jekovich's mind is like a library. His mind is like a library. So if you want to ask any questions or comments, text Mr. Jeckovich at 407-366-0000. Text Mr. Jeckovich any question or comment at 407-366-0000. Hearing it directly from an infantryman from World War II is good. It's a lot better than going to the museum and listen to an AI answer. This is the real deal. So text them and any question or comment. And how we say in the beautiful island of Hague Point to Fusky Island, we say it a little bit different because we're a little bit different on that island. You say this. Text Mr. Jeckovich at 407-366-0000. Text Mr. Jeckovich 407-366-0000. So there you go. Mr. Jeckovich will answer each and every one of your text messages, no matter how repetitive. He'll answer them. Right, Mr. Jeckovich?
Right.
So how are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good.
You're looking well.
Yeah.
You're looking well. I see you still have your Trump bandage on.
Yeah, they scraped around with that damn thing today, too.
Well, you're getting a lot of good care. You at least have 6 different assistants taking care of you daily, so you want for nothing. Everyone's here at your beckoning call. Everyone's at your beckoning call. Whatever you need, Mr. Jeckovich gets. As simple as that. Mr. Jeckovich, your license is still good for a few more years, and there's a 2025 Dodge 1500 4x4 electric pickup truck, modified controls on the steering wheel. Do you feel up to driving that tonight?
No.
Maybe tomorrow?
No.
All right, we'll talk about it during the daylight.
We seen Clint's new electric car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yesterday, last night. The night before last, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a beautiful car.
Did you drive it?
No, it's parked. It showed us when we were going home.
Well, you got one of your own, 4-door, 4x4. The controls are modified on the wheel.
It's a little steering wheel.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when would you feel like driving?
Huh?
When do you feel like driving? Tomorrow?
No, I'm not going to try. I can't drive, no. Not
license
with
is
this foot. This foot's crazy. That's why I got to...
Yeah, but we have the controls on the wheel.
That's why I put that truck through the house.
Yeah, but Mr. Jeckovich, he's such a positive thinker. His license doesn't expire to 2027. And he said to me, let's go down to the Flagler Beach, DMV, because that's the easiest ones to work with. They're great people, they're loving people there. And let's renew this license for 10 more years. We didn't have a chance to do it, but that shows you what a positive thinker this guy is. What a positive thinker he is. So anyways, we'll put the truck on the back burner, and maybe another day we'll look at it again. But right now, back burner. Okay, I just noticed on the back of the book, on the back of the cover of the book, Mr. Jeckovich wrote a little bit note about his mother. And let me read it. I didn't see this, so it's time for me to read it. Mother did not relish the role of motherhood, yet she excelled in its functions
13 minutes.
and responsibilities. She was always quick to point out its hardships and tribulations, but did not ask for help nor seek out sympathy. She was a stern taskmaster. What do you mean by that? She was a stern taskmaster.
She saved the rules and regulations. She did what she was supposed to do and helped all the people that she loves.
Okay. Always seeking the best for her children, narrowed by her own limited experience and knowledge. What do you mean by that? Narrowed by her own limited experience and knowledge.
But because she lived isolated. She didn't go out with business groups. She didn't even read the newspaper. She didn't even read TV.
So she was mainly a caretaker, which she did a damn good job.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. Her one outstanding trait was her integrity and her unabated loyalty for those she cared for and loved. Mother's unflinching religion, which Mother was a devout Roman Catholic, no doubt. And that's Mr. Jeckovich's prayers were answered. The only reason this guy got out of World War II, being shot up, his body dragged across the white snow, the blood trail going all the way back to the Red Cross with a bomb shrapnel in his leg. The only reason he made it was twofold. His mother was a devout Roman Catholic, was always praying that he returned alive. And Mr. Jeckovich's friend, the nun in Paris, Renee, she was always praying for his well-being. I believe this is the only reason that he was spared, because of Renee's prayers and his mother's prayers to keep him alive. Although her deep religious convictions were a staunch support for her, the one struggle she constantly fought against was the severe sense of loneliness which was always with her. I don't think she could have been lonely when Delphine moved in. Delphine was...
Well, no, Delphine was the best thing. Well, she didn't lose it, though.
Yeah, that was the best thing that ever happened to her.
Yeah.
Because Delphine was
just
there.
an assistant, yeah.
Yeah. So their loneliness must have been set aside. Even though she would never admit its hold on her, it was quite apparent to anyone who loved her. So this was the back page of the book. Very interesting, and I just found it now. So now, let's see where the hell I'm at.
You're going to pick up on this TV here.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes, 10 more minutes. How many minutes we got in the studio?
Okay.
We only got a short time in the studio. Then we have to move on and let the other person in. What's this?
Where you got to go?
10 minutes.
10 minutes and we'll be on, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're on chapter 20, engaged in wedding plans. This is on page 618. Okay. This is Delphine. She then turned, waved, and was gone inside. I could hear the dog barking in the kitchen and knew what had upset her slightly, but in the euphoric state, I did not realize it fazed her. one bit. That's what Mr. Jeckovich just asked Delphine Stuart to marry him. She was surrounded by a gigantic hurdle today, one that gave her much concern that she had done well. That was done well meeting your mother.
Yeah.
Mother saying the praise of Delphine all that Sunday. Yeah. Mother saying the praise of Delphine all that Sunday morning before he went to church and all the way home from church. Sally's were perplexed and puzzled why she never seen Mother so happy about any person, especially after meeting for the first time. So your sister couldn't understand why Mother was so happy.
Yeah. She wouldn't have done that with Millie.
Yeah.
Millie was Mother's this, Mother's that.
So they didn't get along well?
No.
I was elated in Mother's composure and attitude regarding Delphine, and it was also made it a lot more gratifying to see Delphine without the deluge of Mother would usually put upon when I went out. I was more relaxed and almost took a carefree concern about it, as it was just a normal occurrence. I promised Mother I would bring Delphine back for another visit shortly. Perhaps on the next day off when I finished up midnights, she was delighted at the prospect, and I could see that she was looking forward to it already. Who would have thought that the things would have worked out as well as they had? I certainly had not, but I was greatly relieved that they had, and maybe it was Mother's prayers. Of course it was Mother's prayers. This lady, what did your mother do every night before bed?
So lay down in front of her bed and say the rosary.
That's right. But then, again, I kept thinking about Renee, and there's Renee. Renee and Mother are always in the picture, they prayed for you.
Yeah.
Renee, by the way, we must add this because we mentioned Renee twice already. A Roman Catholic nun in the convent in Paris, and cloistered, by the way. But she got word when the Germans occupied Paris that her mother and father, and I imagine Renee was only in her 20s, early 20s, or parents were probably only in their 40s. They were killed in a torturous way by the Nazis. And then later, the super nun, I'd call her, Renee, was notified that her younger brothers, which are probably 17 and 18, where they again were tortured by the Nazis when they took control of Paris. So at this time, nun Renee was questioning her faith, which is not unusual. Everyone questions their faith, even the Pope. So as the story turns out, Renee was an accomplished artist, correct?
Yeah.
What did she paint?
She painted figures of faces, and the high-tech German officers liked it. They went up to, they were so egotistical, they wanted someone to take a natural picture of their face.
So Renee was an unbelievable portrait artist at the studio once she left the convent. And when you went into the studio to meet Renee, what did you see on the walls?
A lot of pictures of my class German officers.
German officers.
Yeah. Well, she was going with them, but she's getting information from them too.
Okay. The rest of the story is this. Minutes?
6.
German officers are all puffed up with their self-worth. They always have huge egos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Until the war ended, then they became cowards. But they have huge egos, narcissistic asswipes. And so Renee was painting these portraits, and this is the reason why. Here we go. Renee went from the convent to the French resistance, right?
Yeah.
And you went down into the headquarters of the French resistance in Paris. What was that like?
It was down in the sewer in the streets of Paris.
And that's where all communications
That's
went
where
down.
the communication was, the radio was, everything else.
But the Nazis never found her in that.
No, they never found it.
But word leaked out that Renee was in the French resistance gathering information from doing the portraits of these German officers. And then what happened?
Well, they tracked her and they found out about her.
And then what happened?
So they took her out in the woods and shot her.
Took her out of the woods and shot her. That was the beginning and the end of it. But Renee was an unbelievable person. prayed for Mr. Jeckovich all the time. And so did Mr. Jekovich's mother. And I believe that's the only reason he escaped the Battle of the Bulge and made it home alive. Still with injuries, but he made it home alive. Would you agree with that, Mr. Jeckovich?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, we'll go to the Nazi things on the video we did earlier. We only have 4 more minutes, okay?
Okay.
4 more minutes, Mr. Jeckovich. I promised Mother I'd bring Delphine back for another visit shortly, perhaps on my next day off when I finished up midnights. She was delighted at the prospect. I could see that she was looking forward to it already. Who would have thought that things would have worked out as well as they had? Who would have thought? Because your mother was always like hard to get along with.
Oh, she wouldn't get along with Millie.
No. How about Anne or Jean?
Yeah, no.
No. So this was a match made in heaven. But then again, I kept thinking about Renee. Perhaps she was responsible for a part of what had taken place. I'm sure it was. The thought has also flashed through my mind for a brief moment. What if I brought Anne home with me on furlough in the late summer of 1944? What would happen?
If you brought Ann?
Yeah, in the summer of 44.
I don't think my mother would accept her.
Okay. Would Mother be just as agreeable as now? I think not. And it would hold true under the same circumstances regarding Jean and perhaps Renee. What made the outcome so radically different now as compared to then? Certainly my own condition had not changed that much between the two.
3.
3 minutes. That much between the two incidents, and definitely my attitude had not changed. The only conclusion that one could assume was that the other party involved, Delphine, was a determining factor in the final outcome, which I agree. I agree 100%. Delphine made friends wherever she went.
Yeah.
Her warm, gracious personality had won over Mother almost instantly, and coupled with Mother's shift in conduct turned the tide. Of course, I would never really know for certain, for I would never concede to presenting Anne, Jean, or Renee to Mother as I've done with Delphine. It was not to say that Anne, Jean, and Renee were not personable and warm, or that Mother would not eventually have come to loving them. But in a final analysis,
2 minutes.
the time was right, and myself was in a state of uncertainty. I could never do what I did with Delphine, present her to Mother back in 1944. It was only to conceive in my intellect, and my conscious self would never permit it. So, as it all turned out, once you got married, Delphine and your mother were getting along great.
Oh, yeah.
You taught Delphine to drive. Tell us how that went.
Yeah. Well, I taught Delphine to drive out of Volkswagen. He had to shift gears and everything else. He ground her gears for a while, but he got it. He drove to Pittsburgh a couple of times.
Yeah, because the Volkswagen Beetles back then had a very tall shift knob. It was easy to grind gears, especially if you're a novice. So once that took place, Delphine took your mother everywhere.
Yeah.
They were inseparable.
Oh, yeah.
They were like best friends.
Yeah.
1.5.
They were inseparable, right?
Yeah.
But how was it? I know people today wouldn't want a standard shift with a long shift knob. They wouldn't. Most of the people today won't drive a manual. But what was the situation with the heat in those Volkswagens?
You had to go 90 miles an hour to get the heat in there.
So in the coldest of winters, what the hell did you do?
There was no fan in there.
So in the coldest of winters, did you have to really bundle up in the car?
Yeah.
Did your mother complain at all?
Well, she didn't go with the car much. She didn't go in the car much.
Okay.
She'd wait for Stevie or Lookie to come down to take her someplace where the car was heated.
Oh, where the car was heated?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you got your international trucks, those heaters worked good.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Yeah.
Minutes?
30 seconds.
Those heaters worked really good.
Who?
And your internationals.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us how those worked.
Yes. The Green Hornet?
Yeah, how'd that work?
Oh, Godolphin loved that car. She got after she got used to it, she loved that car.
That was automatic, right?
Yeah, she took the kids to school and everything.
And that was a real good heater, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good heater in there.
Nice and toasty.
Yeah.
You turn that on in 2 minutes with full blast heat.
No kidding. Second. That was interesting.
We'll pick this up tomorrow.
Okay, you wanna